Okay, so you've had your conversations with the buyer, you've had a pretty good discovery session, understood what their challenges are, you've tried to align your product or service with their needs. Now it's time to give them a quote. You provide them the quote and they say, your price is too much. This is too expensive. We can't afford to spend this kind of money. You know, however your buyer says this, it's always kind of a dagger in the heart. But here's the thing. This is one of the most common objections you will ever encounter if you're in sales. So in this video, I'm going to walk you through the exact steps to take when your buyer says to you, it's too expensive. Hi, I'm Shawn Casemore, and I help you become a top performing sales professional so that you can earn more money in less time. If that sounds good to you, make sure you like this video, subscribe so you can stay up to date on all my new videos, typically released every single week, and comment below with your own ideas, suggestions, or questions. I'll make sure I get right back to you. Let's start with this. A pricing objection is really a value objection. Here's what I mean. I've sold cars early in my career. That's one of the ways I got my start in sales. And I'm going to tell you in all honesty, Teslas were not around at that time. However, I can tell you from experience and still knowing a lot of people in the car business that it's not uncommon for a customer to walk into a dealership, or this could be something they do via email or text, and negotiate.
What are you after, Freddie?
My client is prepared to settle for 50% of the marital assets.
Why only 50, Freddie? Why not 100?
Like crazy over maybe a Toyota Corolla, let's say, right? A lower priced car. They will push and prod and try and get that car as cheap as they can. They'll say, it's just too expensive, too much money. And when you ask, what are you comparing it to? They'll say, well, the Tesla down the street. Well, hold on a second, the Tesla's twice the money. Yes, but there's a greater perceived value with the Tesla, right? So a pricing objection does not mean your price is too high. What it means is that your buyer does not see the value in what you've suggested for that price. So let's walk through the steps you can take if you face the pricing objection. Step number one, stay calm. I can't tell you how many of the sales professionals that I work with that when faced with a pricing objection, they tend to panic. They run away. They don't know what to do. They're like, oh, price. Okay, well, I can't change the price. Nothing to do about it. Thanks for your time. And then they leave. That's the wrong approach. If you're faced with any objection, but especially a pricing objection, stay calm. Keep in mind that an objection is a sign of interest. If somebody really did not like what you had to offer, they would slam the door or they would not respond to you at all. So if they're actually talking to you or telling you this on the phone or email or even face to face, there's some level of interest there. So stay calm, tip number one. And when it comes to a pricing objection, it's a little bit different than some of the other objections you might face, right? It's very common. And again, it's a value-based objection. So we want to ask questions to really try and understand, where did we miss the boat? Where is this value gap that the buyer perceives? The only way to do that is to kind of revisit what their understanding of what they're getting for the price is, right? So at this point, I call this the acknowledge and pivot point, which is tip number two. So your acknowledge and pivot is really accepting, saying, okay, the price is too high. Can I ask you a question? Right? So there's the pivot. And then your questions have to be around identifying that value gap. So you might say something like, may I ask you a question? So you've said the price is too high. May I ask you a question? They're going to say, sure. You say, I'm curious, if you believe the price is too high, I know the marketplace, I know what our competitors charge. Is there something maybe that I haven't explained well or that I'm missing that's important to you?
I'm not making myself clear. I don't give a
Or you might say something like, oh, interesting, price is too high. You know, I don't typically hear that, but what I'm wondering is, for this price that you see in the quote, what do you understand you're getting? Because I think maybe I might have misexplained something, or I might have missed something. Now, I want you to notice something here. What I'm doing in my question is I'm putting the blame on me. I'm putting the onus on me. You always want to do that when you're dealing with a customer. If I say, well, you missed something, that's kind of insulting. But if I say, I might have missed explaining something well, or I might not have made something clear, or maybe I didn't explain it well, those kind of things suggest I'm the problem. And most people will either say, oh, okay, well, here's what I understand, I get. So they're going to answer your question. So when you put the onus on you as maybe having missed something or not explained something well, suddenly they're going to listen and they're going to give you the answer you need to be able to dig in further, which moves us to tip number three. Now, tip number three is really then about revisiting value. So regardless of how they respond, let's say they say, no, I understand what I get for the price. Or maybe they say, well, I understand I get X, Y, and Z. Direct and indirect.
You smell that? What is that?
What?
What's that smell?
A cologne?
No.
Opportunity.
No. Money.
Oh, okay.
I smell money.
Okay.
Tangible and intangible value they're going to get with your product or service. So let's go back to that Toyota Corolla. If somebody was going to buy that car, a product from me, okay, you get a car, moves you from point A to B, cost you X amount. Now, what is the value in Toyota? Well, I would say, having owned one or two in my lifetime, the value in Toyota is the quality of service that you get, the responsiveness you get, the longevity of the vehicle. They've got one of the highest ratings. So again, if I was selling Toyotas, I would be equipped with all the things that set us apart from the competition. That's your value gap, right? Your value gap is how you differ from the competition. So if you have this information at hand or in your mind or even just printed out somewhere, you can go back and start to revisit and say, well, aside from getting A, B, and C for this price, here's what else you get that maybe I wasn't that clear on, or maybe I didn't explain it well. Again, notice I'm putting the onus on me. So revisit value is step number 3. Now, if you're enjoying these tips and strategies, make sure you click the subscribe button so you can stay up to date on all my latest videos. If you like this video specifically, hit that little like button and that'll tell me that I'm on the right path as far as creating more videos like this for you. And if you have something to share that's a strategy that worked for you, make sure you comment below. Okay, strategy number 4 when dealing with you're too expensive. You want to make sure after you've revisited value, we've got to now make this something that is absolutely present for your buyer, right? If we're having a conversation in person, if we're doing it virtually or on the telephone, right? I have to put this in some sort of different format to make sure you get it. Think about how people tend to absorb information, right? They typically absorb information verbally. So I tell you this, you hear, you understand to a certain degree, and then you draw your assumptions based on that. So now I want to shift how I'm sharing this information. So at this point, I want to take that value and calculate for you a return on investment that is in a different communication format. Typically what I like to do, if we're in person, I've got a pad of paper and I just write down, okay, so this to be clear, for this much, you're getting this, you're getting this, you're getting this, you're getting this. The approximate values of each of those are this, this, this. And some of these might be priceless, right? Unfeathered ability to reach me at any time if you have problems, priceless, right? You can have a little bit of fun with this. But the point is, I want you to go from whatever format of communication you're in. If you're virtual and showing slides, maybe you're in person just having a conversation, change it up. Best thing you can usually do is write them out right in front of the person. So here's the price, here's what you're getting, and here's the value of each of those. And then you want to take this and share it with them and say, now, have I missed anything here? Because now we're trying to pull them into the conversation to make sure that they agree with this. And you'd be surprised, 50% of the time, they'll take it and say, oh yeah, and don't I also get this? And they'll write it down for you. Now you're bringing into the value equation, right? Now you're moving past this objection. The last step is now, in this case, very common with many other objections, okay? And that is where you transition into asking soft close questions, right? So this is where you say something like, well, based on that, you're right, I did miss that. I'm going back to my previous point. I did miss, right, this other point is part of the value you get in moving forward with this. So let me ask you a question. If we can achieve this and have this for you to, let's say, by next Tuesday, are you willing to proceed? Are you willing to go ahead? Right? I'm simply asking for the close, but in a very soft manner. I'm not saying sign it or else, or the deal's done if you don't sign by the end of the day. Nobody likes pressure sales anymore. It's done, right?
A, B, C. A always B, B, C closing. Always be closing. Always be closing.
People are just wise to that. And there's too much competition and it's too easy to access it. That said, I still want to use those soft close questions. If we could achieve this for you, would you be ready to move ahead? Let me ask you a question. You're saying that the price is too high. If I could add these things to this, would you be ready to proceed? Right? So the point is this, I don't want you to jump into discounting. I want you to focus on the price and stack the value on that price. Even if it means maybe you add a few other things that are a little bit of a bonus for them, that's so much better than discounting. Which brings me to a bonus tip for you, which I always like to include. Do not discount. If somebody says to you, your price is too expensive, and you jump to saying, well, where do I gotta be? What's my target price? Now again, sometimes target price is nice to know, but here's the problem. You're setting the stage for them to A, lie to you and tell you a false target price so they can get a better price and save money. That makes them uncomfortable and you uncomfortable. And B, what you're doing is setting yourself up that they know now for the next time, whatever price you pose, they can say it's too high and you'll drop your price. That's why discounting never works. So, bonus tip, do not discount when somebody says the price is too high. Work through the steps I've shared, stack that value, make sure it's very clear, engage your buyer in what that value is, make sure they're comfortable with that, and then revisit your soft closed questions. You know, if you want to be a high-performing sales professional, I find one of the biggest challenges is staying on track with your goals, your targets, and your daily and weekly activities. So for that reason, I created what I call the 30-day sales action planner. Simple PDF version that you can use and apply to keep you on track, to identify your goals, to identify your targets, and to check your progress, and to track and identify your own best practices. If you'd like a copy of that, it's absolutely free. There's a link below. Just click the link. You can quickly have it sent to you and put it to use right away. And make sure you let me know how it goes. Now, if you are trying to sell to bigger companies and you're finding you struggle a little bit with that environment and you're facing these kind of objections a lot, make sure you watch this video next on how to sell to big companies, which will share some additional strategies to help you. And until next time, let's get out there and go sell something.